6-minute podcast. Business, study, life.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Ready to dive deep. Today, we're tackling something super interesting. Fear.
Fear.
Yeah, but not just any fear. We're looking at how fear of the unknown can totally warp our view of different cultures. Like, seriously warp it.
Interesting. I mean, everyone feels fear, right? It's part of being human.
Totally. But the sources we've got for this deep dive, they really highlight the dark side of that fear. You know, how it can make us, well, kind of judgmental and closed-minded, especially when we're dealing with something unfamiliar, something outside our own little bubble. Ever catch yourself doing that? Like feeling hesitant to try a new food or, I don't know, go to a cultural event that's totally different from what you're used to?
No, absolutely. I think we've all been there.
Right. But it turns out that's just scratching the surface. According to these sources, this whole fear thing, it goes way deeper than just personal hesitation. It can have some pretty big consequences for how we interact with the world around us.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we start?
Well, the sources kick things off by talking about, well, stereotypes.
Stereotypes.
Yeah. Apparently, when we're afraid of something, one of the first things we do is try to simplify it, like put it in a neat little box so it feels less scary.
Ah, I see. So instead of taking the time to really understand something new and different, we just slap a label on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that label is usually based on, like, the tiniest bit of information, often stuff that's not even accurate.
Right. It's like judging a whole book by its cover. Or, in this case, judging an entire culture by, like, one tiny detail that we don't even understand.
Which is pretty messed up when you think about it. And the sources actually mention this study where people were shown images of, like, unfamiliar cultural practices, stuff they'd never seen before. And guess what?
What?
They were way more likely to label those practices as negative, even though they had zero context. Just boom, instant judgment based on fear.
Wow, that's crazy. So we're talking about snap judgments, but this goes beyond just first impressions, right? I mean, if fear makes us cling to our own cultural norms so tightly, doesn't that make it harder to actually understand and adapt to new ones?
Oh, 100%. One of the sources called it an empathy breakdown. Like, we get so caught up in our own anxieties about the unknown that we completely miss the chance to connect with another person's experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like that saying, we're not afraid of the dark, we're afraid of what's in the dark. Our minds fill in the blanks, and usually not in a good way.
Exactly. So imagine you're encountering a custom for the first time, something totally foreign to your own experience. Instead of just seeing it as different, fear makes us jump to weird or even wrong. Like, our brains just can't handle the uncertainty.
That's a great point.
And the sources didn't stop there. They also pointed out how this fear limits us in other ways, too, like on a personal level. It makes us hesitate to step outside our comfort zones, you know?
Hesitate.
Yeah. Explore new things, meet new people, or even reflect on our own beliefs.
Yeah.
Because what if those beliefs are challenged? What if we have to, like, actually change our minds about something?
It's scary, right? To admit that maybe we don't have all the answers. Or that our way of doing things isn't the only way.
Which is wild because one of the sources actually linked this fear of the unknown to a lack of creativity and innovation.
Really?
Yeah. Think about it. If we're so busy clinging to what we know, to what feels safe and familiar, we miss out on discovering new solutions, new ideas, new ways of being. It's like we're stuck in this tiny little box and we're too afraid to even peek outside.
That's a powerful image. It makes you wonder, what amazing things are we all missing out on because we're too afraid to let go of what we think we know?
Right. But it can't be all doom and gloom, right? There has to be a way to break free from this fear-driven cycle.
Oh, there absolutely is. The sources offer a bunch of strategies for overcoming this fear. And one of the most powerful ones is self-reflection.
Self-reflection.
Yeah, like taking the time to really understand where your fears are coming from. Why do certain things make you uncomfortable? What are those triggers that send you running back to your comfort zone? Once you know what you're dealing with, you can start to challenge those fears.
So instead of avoiding the things that scare us, we need to, like, lean in a little. Get curious about them.
Exactly. Curiosity is key here. And the sources also talked about the importance of seeking out diverse perspectives, right? Like actively putting ourselves in situations where we're exposed to different ways of thinking, different ways of life.
That makes sense. Because if we only ever surround ourselves with people who are just like us, who share all the same values and beliefs, we're never going to learn anything new. And we're definitely never going to challenge our own assumptions.
Right. One technique they highlighted is called perspective taking.
Perspective.
Yeah. It's basically about trying to see the world through someone else's eyes, like really putting yourself in their shoes, trying to understand their experiences and motivations, even if they're totally different from your own. It's not always easy, but it's incredibly powerful for breaking down those fear-based barriers.
So curiosity over fear, understanding over judgment.
Exactly.
That's the goal. And even though these sources we've been talking about, they focused a lot on the negative stuff, I don't know, I'm walking away feeling like there's actually a ton of potential for positive change.
I agree. And remember, this isn't about erasing fear completely. That's impossible, and probably not even a good idea. Fear can be a powerful motivator. It can keep us safe. But it's about recognizing our fears, understanding their impact, and choosing to move forward with curiosity and an open mind.
Well said.